Steve.
I'm Zook, Gadzook.
It's just Goro.
You can see that
Should
fin
we
down there is still patrolling. It takes a turn where it investigated the ripples where Baraka had fallen in, and then goes back around the column, making slow circles.
Yeah.
You can't see much of this creature. You can just see maybe a scaly type of fin, the way it's glistening in your dark vision.
Careful, there are things in the water.
How far is it from me to the farthest wall?
If you're looking out across the lake, it's easily 200 feet. It's very far. This is a deep cavern, and you're on the far side of it.
How far toward the center can I walk before falling?
The platform you're on, it's about 30 feet from the door you went through to the rolling stone on the edge.
So then it'd be about 170 feet to the far wall? Better than nothing. Find traps.
What you do detect is that rolling block at the edge.
Okay.
As you look through the cavern line of sight using that magic vision, you don't detect any traps.
So
otherwise.
predominantly just the rolling pin.
Right, that's the one that sticks out.
Got it.
Perception check just to see if there are any other creatures that I can see in the water. 11.
As I mentioned, there were two initially. That disturbance, there was maybe a significantly smaller little shadow that you caught, like deeper down, maybe toward the column, but it has disappeared now with the appearance of the other aquatic creature.
Maybe whoever put this trap here has been using the natural creatures in the water as a defense against intruders.
I have an idea. Does anyone have a length of rope that they don't particularly care about?
Oh, I had a couple up there. Yeah, here you go.
Look, there's spare in the
Move
boat.
that.
My
Let's
light
do that.
spell. Can I light the whole rope? Oh, well, it says no more than 10 feet in any direction.
Part of the rope, I guess you could do. Like
All right.
10 feet of the rope could be illuminated.
Can I do a crossbow bolt and like 5 or 6 feet
Okay.
of rope?
Sure.
Tie them together. Shoot them toward, not designed to hit, but just toward the fins
I would like you to make a ranged weapon attack
to not hit them.
to see if you're getting it anywhere near the target.
19.
You watch as Steve concocts this holy combination of rope and crossbow bolt, and he stands there by the edge, takes aim, and you, of course, wait for this creature when it's closest to get the best glimpse of it. And then, chunk, punk, and the rope spirals out, follows it in, and illuminates the general area of the water around this creature. What you see is a very snake-like head, sleek and slicked back, and has a bulge like a viper, and that's what you see of the top half of this thing. Upon seeing the light, it immediately goes farther underwater.
I'm going to reel in the bolt, put it away.
When you reel it back, there's no bolt on it.
Really? I return the bright rope.
Right, bro.
Hey, thanks.
Just a warning, that'll be lit up for the next hour.
Why can't you just turn it off?
I think you can. You can
Okay.
dismiss it, yeah.
Alright, yeah.
Thanks. I suspect that most of the things down here don't really like light all that much.
That's
It seems to have aggravated everything, every single thing thus far.
Did you say there was a way like down off to the side?
That's right. And in fact, now that you've spent a little more time along the wall here at the edge of the precipice and not sliding off the trap, you can see that there's maybe a little bit of, like maybe an inch or two of floor at the very base of this cliff. If you look down 30 feet of the water surface, that sort of runs off and joins that cavern that goes off to the side. You can't see it very well because you're looking down at an angle into it, but you can see that the water runs along a path in that.
It's pretty narrow.
direction.
Yeah. Like single file?
It's sort of like the one you came through, more or less.
I think I got
Is there a way to go up? We can go down, but is there a way to go up?
No, the ceiling rises and dips, and there are all kinds of stalactites on top of it. It's about 20 feet from where you're standing up to the ceiling, but there's no obvious way out, apart from wherever the water's coming through, presumably.
The only way to get to the other entrance to the cave is having to go across the water? Or is it that we go down to where it's like a couple inches across and then it'll like loop us around?
You could do that, but it's not terribly far from where you are. If you were to throw a frozen rope from where you're standing down to this entryway, it would be probably 40 feet. That's sort of a strange
Can I
angle.
use a spell I've
Like
prepared
there's
twice?
a solid wall before the
As long as you have spell
entryway,
slots for it.
Yeah.
and it's farther below you.
And again,
It's
I've
at
got
about water level.
4, 3,
so
2.
the top of that
Tremendous, man.
tunnel would be probably 20 feet below where you're standing.
Out of character, I think you're doing a great job describing the environment.
Thank you. Doing my best.
Seconded.
Okay.
Yeah. And creating it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I say we keep going down. If we can not disrupt or kill things that don't seem to be bothering us, I think the better.
Yeah. And the less we disturb, maybe the more that they'll like to attack us.
Wait.
What?
You said the less that we disturb, the more they might want to attack us?
I was wondering the same
Oh,
thing. That's
sorry.
definitely what he said.
Yeah.
Whoops.
The way that goes to the left, is it...
It's down below you. It's at water level. You're 30 feet
Okay.
above water level. So
Okay.
when you had fallen down in the water, you could look and it would be right at eye level. But now you're quite a bit up above it.
Why don't we just jump? And I cast Featherfall and I jump.
Are you serious?
I'm dead
This
serious.
is the moment where the DM says, "Are you sure?"
I cast Featherfall, and it's solid down there, right?
No, it's water
Oh.
down there. But you,
Oh, I thought that was where like the path was down there.
there's an inch of path up against the wall, but otherwise it's just a lake. You would have to fall at like a steep angle to get in there, like a leaf blown in a gale, in order to make your way in there.
Right, because it's
I don't know
it's
if you
40
could
foot
do-
frozen rope
If
that
you,
way.
yeah, if you were to leap and cast Featherfall, you might make it.
Are there any rocks around?
Not really. This place is very smooth, very even.
Does anyone have anything heavy that they wouldn't terribly mind losing?
Push them in.
You've got a mace, you said, dead weight.
It kind of is, but it's symbolic. Yeah.
I'm gonna shoot Ray of Frost into the lake.
If you'd like to cast it and then roll some damage, I'll let you know what extent of freezing you can do here.
Okay. 4.
A 4 foot by 4 foot circle of ice forms on the surface of the lake where your spell hits.
Does it even look sturdy?
It bobs already. You can see it moving in the natural flow of the water. You can see at the disturbance to the water that aquatic creature that you had glimpsed before, it had sort of wandered off, and it comes back as it sees another disturbance to the water. It's not coming up to investigate it, it's not poking around, touching it, but it's just sort of watching. You can see that fin near the column.
For that little path that's off to the left, if you were to drop a straight down, you would hit it, or is it like...
It's a little bit recessed from the edge of the platform here. There's a little bit of wall in the way, basically. You'd probably still have to swim 10 or 15 feet to make it there.
So if we all jump in the water, then we ought to be fine.
All but
Just
one of us.
swim.
Concern is getting back up if we need to. So there doesn't seem to be anything we could secure a rope to up here. It's all smooth and flat.
That fin rises up again, up to the surface, makes a circle around the column, and then it goes back toward the waterfall.
Water's 30 feet down, right?
Yeah, you know it well, Baraka.
I do. I saw all 30 of those feet. I'm going to cast Mage Hand at the water level, because it is at 30 feet, and I'm going to control it to start just slapping the top of the water, to make like a constant disturbance on the water.
It looks like nothing to the bystanders here, your comrades, but then you just see this slapping at the surface of the water, and it echoes through the cavern. Not nearly as loudly as the rushing water from the waterfall, but it is certainly audible. And at the disturbance, you see that fin makes its way up. It's going faster this time. It's purposeful. It sees something happening. The fin goes up again to the column, and then it comes a little closer, and it's within probably 10 feet of the base of your platform, down there in the water. And you can see the sleek head just below the water, looking at whatever's making this effect happen.
It's just investigating.
I can light any of us.
Oh, actually, I'm an idiot. I take out my sword. So you wanted to light something and just drop it into the water, right?
Yes.
Do it with this.
Do you want that back?
It'll
Like-
come back.
My crossbow bolt did not come back.
It'll come back.
Okay.
I just chuck my sword in the water.
Somewhere behind the creature, or just in the general area?
Yeah, like a little bit behind it, I guess. Just
Is your mage hand still going?
Yeah.
Baraka tosses his scimitar and it goes into the water, and you can see the fin changes orientation. You know, it moves over that way, and then it descends.
Can we see? Because he casts light on it. Does it light up? Can we see
You
more
get-
of anything?
You get more or less the same glimpse you had before. This time you're maybe 20 feet away from it, or rather, it's 20 feet away from the cliff where you are. It's slightly farther away because you're higher up. You can see again that sleek, slightly flared head, and you can see an arm just grasp the scimitar. The light dissipates as it sinks,
I recall my weapon.
and then it comes splashing out of the water and flies up. And then you see a crossbow bolt, illuminated, comes pitching up like an underhand toss, and it lands on the platform in front of you.
I'm back.
You want to grab it back?
I do. I very much.
Thought you would come back.
Can we use that as a distraction so we can get across?
Yeah, possibly I got two.
It does not solve our problem with trying to get back.
No, that's not.
I feel as though we can get across.
It's just how much do we care about getting back?
I feel very strongly that there is another exit.
I do too.
That's cave building 101. There's always kind of a second exit if you're going to delve down.
I learned that in National Treasure.
Goddamn right.
I just feel this the snake in the water. I feel like it's just like, what the fuck is happening today?
If we running long jump, I can make us fall safely, and then it would be a shorter swim.
How many targets can you hit with feather fall?
5 willing creatures.
I'm tepid at best. I stopped being willing halfway through.
I let
dropped
Steve
like
fall.
a
I let
stone.
Steve fall.
After a few minutes, as you resolve, okay, this is the plan, you see something rise to the surface of the water, and you see a goldfish, an enormous goldfish. The face pops out with the bug eyes. You see the mouth just looks, turns his head to get the bulging eyes to get a bead on you, and then it goes back underwater.
Well, that was interesting.
Is that the gold creature you're looking for?
Is it? I hope not.
The thing is, it's a genuine, like, orange goldfish, like a koi.
Like legit, like a giant goldfish.
Also, the
That's nice.
And no more fin.
Diga Roland was pretty clear that these are, like, creatures, not fish.
Okay. I feel like we're all just there and just see like the fish is like it goes back down and we just look back at each other like.
does that change our plan?
I don't know.
Was it looking at us like with sentience? Like,
Just like a stupid fish.
just like a stupid fish?
Then
Then no.
That's your professional opinion.
Okay, sweet. Stupid fucking fish. Let's do it.
Please pitch the sword out. Where would you like to throw it?
As far as I possibly can and like away from where we're jumping.
As a slightly stocky half-elf decked out in chainmail, how's my swim gonna be?
I like this. Like before the plan happens, he's got all these questions for you.
Listen, if you're concerned about your swimming ability, take off your goddamn armor, chuck it across.
Oh, are we going?
I'm gonna tie a rope around my waist and hand it to one of these fellows, if they're willing to lend me a rope.
I'll take that.
Uh,
3, 2, 1, go, and I just jump off.
Jumping.
For the fall.
Running and
Yes.
then jumping.
Even
Specifically.
though you said that you were jumping before Goro is, you were the last one off because he's much faster.
Yes,
than you.
that sounds
Takes
good.
those little legs.
No corgi flop off the side. I want a full jump.
The question is, what kind of check would this be? I think it would be acrobatics.
7.
17.
20.
7.
Baraka's roll is going to help you since you're tied
I'm just like,
together. Yeah, exactly. Thrown, basically. Goro, you make it almost to the platform. You're maybe a 5-10 foot swim from the edge. Gag, you don't do so well. You're focused on
Close
casting
drop.
the spell. Yeah, you're probably 20 feet from the water before the spell goes off for you, so you don't get quite the same momentum.
Right.
You plummet more than you drift.
Can rock gnomes
we're
swim?
about to find out.
But I'm made of rock.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm a gnome who lives among rocks.
Oh, okay. I
He was born
I
on the
was-
rock.
I was imagining this golem
It's
like
super effective, just Geoduding right into the stream.
Baraka, you do.
I never thought about it.
You would have
got some
done
dice.
almost as well as Goro and gotten as close, except you're latched to this guy. It's sort of a detriment. You managed to pull him farther, Steve, so you're along with Baraka for the ride. You're about 20, 25 feet from the platform.
Okay. Do I have to take like a swim check here, or
Yes.
because I didn't even take my armor off here? So
Right.
Let's
Another athletics check all around.
4.
Athletics? Oh, good. 24.
Thank God I'm tied to you.
Yeah, exactly.
4.
10.
Gad is in the
Oh!
end. It was like a belly flop when you landed. A gentle one, but still
A very
belly
gentle,
flop.
safe
Yeah.
belly flop.
Goro, you can quite easily get to shore from here.
Alright, as soon as I get to shore, I take my length of rope and toss it out to him.
Okay, all right.
Assuming it passes them as well.
Sure, absolutely. Baraka, with that excellent check, you managed to get your paws, so to speak, up on the edge of this platform that leads into the tunnel. As you haul Steve and Gad, as you are reaching desperately for this rope that's getting away from you, there is something pulling at the back of your armor.
Oh, fuck
You just
that.
feel something stick and then pull. And you feel the same thing. There's some sort of cold, wet slaps you on the back, and then you feel yourself being pulled. I'm going to have you make a strength ability check.
Actually, can I?
And Gad, I'll have you do the same, a strength check, to see if you can grab this rope and hold on to it to resist this force that's pulling you away.
Can I lean my head back? Sure. Light it up.
Illuminate the whatever's touching you.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, does that help?
Well,
It's-
I'd like you to
yeah,
make the strength
alright.
check first.
10.
It's a 12 for me.
Neither of you pass. You lean your
Grand.
head back and you illuminate, and the rest of you, Goro and Baraka, you're in a good position to see your comrades get reeled in. There are thin filaments attached to their back, and it's like an incredibly sticky web. And Steve is quickly pulled out of the water up toward the wall, and there's some mysterious crevice farther up. Illuminating the web makes it a little bit more visible. Baraka, you can not quite see it from here. It's somewhere up on the wall. You're pulled easily 60 feet into a cloister, a small little...
So I'm no longer in the water.
No,
Is
you
he-
are way up in the air.
Is he still
At
on
least
the
in-
rope?
Yeah, because we're tied together.
With your strength check, no. You might be coming with him.
Oh, shit.
You are also pulled. You failed your strength
hard
check.
can I swim?
You've got your hands on that rope, but then this filament that's got you, it's like a steel cable, just incredibly quickly. You find your friends disappearing as you're pulled up into the darkness here.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm pretty happy to not be drowning because I'm like 50-50. This is an improved situation for Steve.
This incredible force in this cable is just pulling the both of you. You're sort of dangling. You can grab
Whiplash.
onto the rope a little bit, but you're 20 feet tethered from him. Gad and Steve share this similar experience in that you're pulled up backwards into this small crevice, and you feel something sharp scratching at you. It's a 19 to hit.
Got, guys.
All right. So what character am I making tomorrow morning?
24.
Yeah, that hits, man.
That's 5 damage to Gad, 5 damage to Steve. This creature on the other end of the filament has drawn you in. You see this claw come over your shoulder, dig down into your armor. So now we're going to roll initiative.
For everyone?
Yes. Goro, you're ready to act, even though you're quite far away. You can see the one that has Gad relatively well. If you look up to your left, up on the wall, Gad has been pulled. You can see his little legs kicking, and you can see this large, pale claw grabbing at him. He is up at the ceiling, so that's 60 feet from you. We've got Steve and Baraka to Goro's right, and then we've got Gad to the left.
I'm just gonna leave him. I'll cast Firebolts at the claw that's going after Gad. 12.
So-
You do not manage to hit with the Firebolt. It's the enemy's turn, in fact. So, you'll be after them, so hold on to that.
Oh yeah.
That is a 12 to hit your AC, Steve.
Nope.
You can hear the claws, like, ear-piercingly scrabbling against your mail. That's a 20 versus AC.
Oh, it's hitting me. Yeah, that hits.
Oh no, it's hitting me.
That hits.
5 slashing damage. Goro, you can see out in the water that fin sort of returns. It's watching you, but it's a good 20 feet away out in the water. It's just keeping an eye on things, so it seems. And now we throw it over to Steve.
I'm going to bless myself and Baraka. So then strength check,
Yes.
which I can add a d4 to.
I don't think it's a saving.
Okay.
It's an ability check.
That's fair.
Because you're safe.
18?
Yeah, you're out.
Actually, the strength check,
It's going to be 17.
17.
You still make it. You manage to burst your bonds, and upon doing so, Baraka, who is lashed to you, is a tremendous amount of weight tied about your midsection, so the both of you are going to fall. Baraka is going about 40 feet down into the water, and you're going to go 60 feet down into the water.
Okay, and how far are we from any kind of platform?
You could ostensibly reach the stone platform from where you are. You're maybe 10 feet laterally. If you're just very high up, you're not particularly distant. I might even have to roll falling damage.
That's a decent.
How far away are they from me?
You're about 30 feet from you. You're sort of on the other side of this stone platform, again, very high up.
I'm gonna, as a reaction, cast Featherfall.
As you're falling, you have that reaction where I need to take some sort of action to do something to save myself, and then you feel quite weightless as
Thanks,
you
buddy.
drift down to the surface of the water.
Solves one problem.
Oh!
I'm gonna swim as fast as I can.
So you get 15 feet of swimming speed. That's going to be enough to get you to the platform, not enough to climb up on.
Fine by me, I'm
It's
there.
also going to be more difficult with Baraka lashed around
Hi.
you. Baraka, as you hit the water, it is now your turn, and you find that you are quite close to our aquatic friend.
Oh, does he look friendly?
You see the head rise up, and the eyes are now above the surface of the water. They are yellow, snake-like, vicious-looking eyes, and they watch you. You can see Gad.
Gad
Yes,
from
absolutely.
where
You see
I'm
his
at.
little legs up there.
Can I tell how far he is from me?
He is 80 feet up and about 20 feet laterally.
There's no math to be done. That's my spell cannot reach him. I don't even know if my dagger can reach him.
Your epithets can reach him. You motherfucker!
No shit.
I'm going to swim to the platform. I'm going to hold my action. If that fish thing makes a move, I'm going to huck my dagger at it.
And we go to Gad now. You are being restrained by this filament that's around you. You're being clawed at. You can hear it scraping and scratching at you, but you are free to act.
I would like to blast this thing with some fire. So there are 3, 17, a 24, and a 19.
Wow. Those are all hits.
Wow. 24 points of fire damage.
You take a good chunk out of it, like you can hear a shriek as this thing recedes. You can hear the little legs scuttling against the stone. However, it does not give up its grasp. And based on the fact that you're sort of casting behind your head, this thing has you restrained and it's clawing you, you're just sort of blasting, and it looks like you don't manage to fully sever the items around you, but you can make the strength check now.
12.
You don't make it too strong for you.
Okay. Don't have a reaction to cast Featherfall anyway, so let's do this well.
Would it be an action for me to pull both of them up out of the water?
I'd call that a bonus action. You can just throw your hands out, get them up. That's pretty simple. Just get them back on their feet.
I'm going to cast darkness around the snake creature.
Okay, out in the water. Yeah. And how big is that sphere?
It is a 15-foot radius.
Thank you.
Nice.
So you see this incredibly jet black, like almost impossibly black magical darkness coalesce around this creature. And then it's obfuscated from view. Make an attack on Gad. 17 versus AC.
Yeah, that hits.
4 slashing damage.
Ah!
Are you okay?
It hurts!
The thing is still shrieking at you from the onslaught of fire, and you get this whiff of roasted crab.
I'm gonna try to hit it with a crossbow.
It's sort of like it's like a trapdoor spider sort of situation where it's a very small little hook, and Gad is very much prominent. You wouldn't be shooting at a disadvantage, you'd be shooting at a target behind cover.
Alright, I'm gonna give it a shot.
You're going to count as half cover because you're kind of a small guy. Try and make the shot. I don't think you made the shot.
10.
Baraka, soaking wet, you're on your feet, you're ready to act.
Magic missile.
See the D4, babe.
11 force damage.
When our boss said, oh, you'll be walking through the woods looking for a font, you know, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll need some first aid spells. Maybe I'll need a food spell. Ranged dark combat was not on that to-do list.
I agree, this is not an ideal scenario!
Yeah, it is quite disconcerting as you see these missiles. And then
Careful!
you can
Careful.
feel the reverberation of the force impacts shake through you. This might be your opportunity to escape.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and get out of there.
Okay, wriggle. Wriggle, please.
It's a 9 and it's an 8.
It's shit.
So he's like 80 feet up.
Still wriggling away.
I am going to pull my length of rope out of the water, going to fasten the end into a lasso, and then just take a shot at the creature with a crossbow.
That's a good hit. Womp, womp, womp.
Yeah,
We got
yeah.
a nat 20. Excellent.
It's the first one tonight.
+5, so 21.
Nice. That is some big damage. When your bolt strikes true, the grasping claws around Gad go slack, and the beast is slain. He's going to come tumbling down 60 feet to the surface of the water.
Yeah, I'm gonna feather fall.
So then, I don't know if this would be like a bonus action, throwing
Yeah,
the lasso out to him.
You want to catch him in midair? Let's see if you can hit him.
Sure.
Yeah. Roll a d20, add acrobatics, maybe? What would that
Some
be?
acrobatics or athletics?
I would even take like
Athletics,
sleight of
shove
hand,
him.
honestly.
Okay, I'll do sleight of hand.
Do I have to roll to catch this thing?
You're just going for the ride, baby.
14.
You get pretty darn close. It's
Oh!
yeah. When you land, you've got the lasso like right around you, perfectly ready to grab onto, scoop you up.
That's great news.
Yeah. This is going to be Gad. You feel a scaly, wet hand on your leg, and then there's this dreadful feeling that creeps over you. Do a wisdom saving throw.
Is this magical in nature by chance?
Yes.
I have advantage on it. 22.
You feel the sensation, you know that a spell is being cast against you, but you resist it. And you manage to pull away from the hand that's on your leg, and then you've got the lasso, and your comrade Goro is reeling you in.
Okay.
Another tendril comes whipping down. The other creature is going
Good.
to send a filament down here.
So there's a second
That
one.
is absolutely it.
The
The
one
one
that
that
grabbed
had
you.
you. It's not slain, you only broke free.
Okay, there are two of them.
But
I
I'll
thought
be
it was-
closer this time.
I thought it was two tendrils of the
That's what I
same thing, yeah.
I'll be closer this time.
This is
Strength
what I would
saving
like.
throw.
Let's get it, man.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
That's an
That's a
8.
solid.
You're sucked right back up. You're still holding onto the rope, but with with that strength check, you're just not quite getting it. You were maybe 10 feet away from the platform, just 80 feet up off the ground. And this creature also gets an attack on you.
Oh, good. Yeah. It hurts, guys. It
Five
hurts.
slash.
It
Back in
hurts.
the same position.
It hurts so good.
I'm gonna try to hit it with a crossbow bolt.
If you can live up to Goro's fantastic shot.
Nope, 15.
No, not with the cover of your comrade.
yeah.
I'm gonna show mercy and not have the bolt hit him. He's already taking enough punishment, I think.
Then
Roll against my AC, man.
Fight with swords.
You can throw the swords.
Could throw the sword. Would that even work? Can I throw the sword as an attack? Would that be
Yeah, just turn into a ranged weapon attack.
I'm proficient in all weapons because I'm a fighter.
Okay, fair enough.
So would it just be off my dex then?
I think so, yeah.
Fuck, I'll throw the dagger then. 8.
Your dagger
Fuck you.
embeds itself into the sole of Gad's boot.
Whoa, hey, whoa now.
Bring that back when you get down.
Okay.
Action surge.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna throw my sword. I'm all out of ideas. Proficiency or just straight up just the dex score?
I think just the dex. You're proficient with the weapon, but not in this
Yeah.
mode.
15.
It
Alright.
embeds itself into the other.
Hey, ho! Come on, guys.
I am then going to use my bonus action to just have that scimitar come back to me.
Oh, good. Good.
You've got a big hole in the bottom of your shoe now, Gad.
Behind me, right? Like where my
You can feel this great big pale crab-like creature scrabbling and biting at you.
Yeah, is it like a crevice behind me? That's like it goes in there, like
Not terrifically deep.
Okay.
You think there's just enough room for this creature and you to sort of be occupying the entryway of this crevice. It's not particularly deep.
It's gonna have to be a scorching ray, but I'm gonna cast it at 3rd level instead of 2nd. 13 and a 24, 13 and a 14. 2 hits. 22 points of fire damage.
You blast away at this thing. Then you feel that familiar feeling where the claws go slack again, and there's this delicious aroma of roasted crab.
I'm almost out.
The creature is dead behind you.
Am I falling?
You're gonna plummet again 80 feet to the water.
I'm gonna
Unless
cast Feather
I'll give you
Fall.
an opportunity if you'd like to make a dexterity saving throw to see if you can grab onto something here.
I'm gonna do the wizard's way. I'm
Okay.
gonna cast Feather Fall for the 4th time out of 4 and use all my first level spell slots on fucking Feather Fall and fall gracefully to the water and hopefully
Yeah,
use
I
my
think-
movement to get out
Sure.
and like just try and play it off cool.
You can swim to the edge. I think Goro would be happy to. pull
Okay,
you
so
back.
I'll do that. That was easy.
As Gad does that pose, he's standing before you guys. There is a streak of flame that erupts from the water. It strikes you square in the back. A beam of searing
do?
fire erupts out of the
What
water
the-
and strikes you in the back as you're standing before your
Unreal.
comrades.
Triumphantly, I might add.
That was easy.
That's going to be 6 radiant.
Swell. Let's get the fuck out of this cave.
Behind you, this tunnel leads off somewhere.
Okay.
You can feel fresh air coming in that way, in fact. And the water flowing from the lake is in like a little channel alongside.
I do not want to be here anymore. I'm all set. I'm all set with this cave. I'm all set with this water. I'm all set with crabs. And I'm like limping severely.
Does Torm have any teachings on running away?
It would be disgraceful, I think, but not in like a deeply, say, helm sort of way. I think there's other gods that would be much more
Against it. It's not a direct sin, but more of an indirect one.
I wouldn't call it a direct sin.
Got it. Well, you know what? I'm gonna run then.
Is my dagger still in Gad's
Clink,
boot?
clink, clink, clink.
So just pluck that out of there.
I've never thought I would cast 4 feather falls in one.
Seriously.
That's incredible right here.
Oh, I'm free.
As you're walking down this tunnel, it's not terrifically far before you can start to see daylight. It's obscured by brush and vines that have fallen across this open end of the hall. The water that's running parallel to your pathway here goes into a very thin and narrow channel. In the rock, it seems to go subterranean, and then you're just walking in a corridor. The water goes elsewhere, in essence. There are some decorative panels on the floor and walls. This actually looks a little bit more ornamented and welcoming, really. Almost like you're going out the entrance. And you can feel this fresh air, which is sort of tantalizing now. You've got that clammy film from the subterranean lake there. Actually, I guess you're all soaking wet still, so it's an opportunity to dry off a little bit.
As we go, I'm going to recall my other scimitar that's been chilling in the lake for several minutes now.
Before you can make your way out, as you're walking through Baraka, you step on one of those tiles, and there's a fruity noise like a click.
Great.
There are spikes that come out of the wall.
5.
7.
You watch in horror as your comrades are skewered by spikes. A 6 piercing to each of you.
Oh, that's not.
Catches you in the shoulder.
Keep walking like nothing
And
happened.
you push through the vines, right? and
Yeah, just
keep going.
Oh, we made it.
This hallway ends on a 50-foot across pit. You're coming out on the edge of it, and there are walls built around this pit, 15 foot deep in the center, and then it tapers up closer. There's some bricks still intact. It looks like it was sort of built in. Farther across the way, you can see small gold creatures the size of like a medium-sized dog. But you see 3 or 4 of them kind of milling around. There are channels of water that flow around the outside of this pit. They're also built into the stone. It's sort of like a channel that someone built. And you can see these creatures are drinking from the water. This water originates in a cavern that's belching steam across the 50-foot pit from you. This is open to the air. There are a fair number of trees, prodigious quantities of them, as well as some bald rock faces that disguise most of this ruin from the outside.
I think we found our quarry.
Why do they look like that?
Eat gold, apparently?
In this pit, I'm going to take a soil sample.
The channels of water that they're drinking from, is that reachable from where we are?
They flow around the outside, get about halfway. As I said, it's 50 foot across this pit. And then they trickle off, peter out. There's places where it's broken and the water just flows.
Okay. So if I'm close enough to the water, I was gonna like take a water sample.
You could do that.
I'm gonna take a
Walk
water
around
sample,
that
so-
side of it. Sure.
I'd like to take a water sample.
Just to feel like part of the team.
Your
No,
pressure.
I was gonna say with my mouth. Does it feel like regular water?
It is quite hot. Not enough to burn you, but like piping hot. You can see that the creatures notice you, and as long as you're not bothering them, they sort of move away, keep their distance from you.
Are there paths away from the pit?
There is a stairway that descends to the left, some very broken down stones that lead down the hill.
Got it. I'm gonna look around for any samples of like hair that's fallen off these creatures. Scat.
Same.
Perception or investigation, your choice.
Roll the 2. But that's an 8 with my perception.
Okay.
Natural 20.
I'm going to give him 4 samples of note, and
Okay.
you're going to get 1. You find a lot of poop around this area, a few little tiny nails, like the little claws. These are probably adults, and the nails you're finding look like they're juvenile.
Roll for perception, see if there's anything like silt or sediment at the bottom of the river.
Do it up, please.
Good call.
I'm blind as a bat.
There's a lot of steam coming off it, which makes it a little bit hard to get a real good look at it.
We could kill one.
While that would be a benefit, it would also directly contradict the rules that we were given to harm the area as little as possible.
So we were to not harm the area and not kill the entire pack, but I think it was allowed to take at least one
I think
samples.
I think you gotta heed the wall. The wall is pretty intent on not hunting unless it is absolutely necessary.
I mean, we could always eat part of it if we wanted to.
Well, that sounds like gorging yourself, right?
To
Sandwiches.
kill one, we're not. I don't want to take out the entire.
from
pack
what,
of them, obviously,
from what I
absolutely
recall,
not.
they said do not harm them.
The wall said hunt only when hungry.
I do not care about Mabanyan's walls.
You don't respect the rules of a place that you enter?
Not normally.
Why?
Sudden Sacred Flame on Baraka. Surprise attack. Column of fire.
What I'm saying is we're allowed to, like, obviously not hunt the entire pack, but we're allowed to take one.
I disagree.
I'm continuing my
arguing.
whittling as they.
I'm arguing about what is
Having a
proper,
sack and whittling.
and what is right.
Mm-hmm.
If we kill one and we bring it back and they didn't want them killed,
Yeah. Can I have a perception, please?
Sure.
that is bad. If we tell them we know where they are and they send us back specifically saying they want a couple of them killed,
Can I have a perception, please?
well, then that's a different story.
Come this way.
That is a hunt and recover. This was a research reconnaissance mission
23.
only.
You hear a rustling in the trees. Not close, somewhere out there.
Would it be better to overstep our boundaries?
I don't think we are
Anger-
overstepping at all.
As I recall, our instructions were clear. They were not to be harmed.
We all made an agreement not to harm anything that wasn't harming us. They're not behaving like wild animals. They are comfortable here. They're used to having people around. They're not behaving like wild creatures.
Gad, as you're saying that, you see 2 more of these creatures come out of that cavern that's belching steam, and they join some of the others drinking from the streams.
Are they used to people, or do they just like?
They're
'cause
still
we're-
keeping their distance from you.
Okay.
And in fact, as Gad raised his voice, they retreated closer to that cavern.
Let me ask you this: if I go over there and kill one of those things, are you going to attack me?
Maybe.
As Baraka is pointing to this creature that's drinking peacefully by the stream, you see
not have made that sound more idyllic. This creature drinking peacefully by the stream.
Adverbs.
this very large winged beast comes streaking down out of the trees, grabs it, and then flies off with it. And we're talking about the size like a small dog. It's not an
What
insubstantial
are the other
creature.
Arumvaraxes?
They all shriek and go running in every which way.
Oh, look at
What?
that nature at work.
Alright, let's go take what's left of its kill then.
It's taken the entire thing.
Well,
It's
yeah,
large claws.
yeah.
One way or another, we have bigger concerns.
Such as
That.
the bird that just took the Arumvarax and flew away.
Yes.
You can hear it keening somewhere out over the forest behind you.
That is now gone and not our problem anymore. If a bird that size came at us, we would murder it in 5 seconds.
Right, but these Rumvaraxes haven't come at us. That animal is hunting to eat.
I can assume this is rest at this point, since they're just arguing.
You can take a rest on your own. I mean, if you're still on your feet and arguing,
Yeah.
I'd call that
Yeah, no, I'm
doesn't
still
seem
like
like it.
on
It does
my
not
feet.
seem
Yeah,
like
no,
rest.
this is not a restful moment.
You can take a short rest.
That's what I was gonna do, because I just want to roll one of these.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
They're arguing.
Yes.
Can I rest a little?
Where were you raised?
You're still arguing.
Don't sit down, get up now.
Small town.
Small town. I was raised out here. This is how things work out here.
It sounds like we've got one vote in favor of kill and Arungvarax, and 2 votes against.
I mean, what am I? Am I lawful good? I think I'm
If
neutral good, so
if
I feel
our
like I do more just like whatever I think is right.
if
Is
our
that-
contract was to specifically
with
come
respect to
here
the
Yeah.
law.
and
Yeah.
kill one, I wouldn't stand in your way. But we were told to alter the environment as little as possible.
You just watch the environment get altered as one gets swooped away.
That is in a closed system. We are the outsiders.
I feel like you're not understanding. I don't want to take it and just burn
I
the body.
understand.
I just want to take its fluids, eat its meat, maybe make the pelt of the clothes, could make a nice belt, a hood, who knows.
What about the penalty?
I agree with
Which penalty would that be?
You stand to lose gold. Losing gold or go back with what we have, which is valuable.
Yeah,
The-
you hear the rustling this time.
Okay.
Somewhere off behind you, same spot, Goro.
The vote is 3 against 1, and if I walk over there and kill one, I have a feeling that I'm gonna have to fight them and you, and that is quite frankly not worth my time.
I'd like to continue the conversation, but slowly walk around so that way the rustling is happening in front of me instead of behind me.
So you'd be like standing behind these 2.
Gad, is there anything going on?
Something in the bushes behind.
How do we want to approach this?
I cast a ray of frost into the bushes.
You fire the ray off into the woods, and you can see a few birds stir and fly off, but otherwise the woods remain more or less still.
Now you're just firing spells off into nothing?
Called a warning shot.
Across her nose, not of it. If you're concerned about gold and contracts, think about what's down here.
I'm down here to complete the job to get samples from little furry gold creatures.
For what?
That's
for
why
what
you're
purpose?
down here.
Why do you do that? You passionate about these creatures, about picking up soil and dirt and shit?
Clearly not.
Then what is your goal?
My goal is to complete my job, because I know that there are greater prizes at the end of this, gold or otherwise.
Fuck your employer. Your employer has got nothing on the riches they can push down here as long as we don't disturb it.
Do you plan on... What riches can you take from the font of gold without disturbing it?
We're here to find out.
So a gamble.
But why would you want to set that trap off before we got there? The jungle that we're in now resembles the jungle from when we...
It's not exactly a jungle. I know it's got that impression, but this is
Right.
a conifer forest. It is, however, incredibly overgrown. And there's something about that that's a little bit different from your average temperate forest.
I'm gonna roll perception check again with the water
Okay.
while they're
Sure.
bickering. 19.
19? Yeah. And you see, much like the sediment in the bottom of the bottle obtained from the altar, it's very much the same. There are flecks of gold. With that perception check, you can see that floating at the top of these channels of water, there's little bits of porous, light rock that floats to the surface, just little teeny flecks of it. The gold sinks to the bottom, the igneous rock floats to the top.
I got a 25.
And so you're looking for more bits.
I'm looking for specifically saliva, blood, and urine.
With that roll, you're going to get 4 good sellable samples. And these are all going to be shed scales. It's somewhere between fur and scales. It's a very strange material that these creatures have on their pelt. It is incredibly dense, like it's noteworthy. These would be incredibly hard to puncture. Like this is thicker than the armor you're wearing on this beast's pelt.
Steve, can I have one of your empty vials?
Maybe I
I've
have.
got plenty. Easily like 50
Sure.
or 60 more than you expect to ever use.
I'll take a sample of what's at the bottom, the
Yep,
little flecks of gold.
I found 4 samples of the hide off these creatures.
So fuck you.
If If you're prepared to drop this, you can have 2 right now.
You're bending down to scoop up some water, and from that rustle in the trees, about the spot where you shot that
You get
spell,
shot in the back.
there is, again, this rush of wings, and this great big creature, the same one that you had saw carry off the Arumbrax. It comes at you like a bullet. This thing is about the size of like a VW Beetle, but the wingspan is incredible. That's a hit, and I don't think there's anything you can do about it. 6.
Those are not good words.
Phrases
Those
you'd
are
love
not
to
good
hear from a
words.
DM. That's a hit, and I don't think there's anything you can do about it.
And I know your toolkit, and you ain't got shit on it.
Even a shield wouldn't help, unfortunately. 8 damage.
How's that deal sound?
This creature grabs you
You can
and
add
finds
2.
that you are too heavy to lift, and
Shed
it sort of
scales.
picks you up for a
Yeah.
moment and deposits you on the other side of this hit. In a flash, this thing hits
I'm gonna ask for a
Goro,
better
sends him
mix.
sprawling, and then it's gone. You can see it wheel out far around the trees. It's flying incredibly fast.
I'm gonna sleep for 8 hours.
Wake up in the
Right
nest.
here. I want to go to where
Where's
the
all of it?
Varaxes,
The way they came out,
where they came out.
built into the side of this mountain, is this narrow cavern that's belching steam from which the water issues. Gad, you journey over there to investigate. You get all this heat coming off. It fogs up. If you have little spectacles on, they fog up. That's up to
Oh,
you,
they
I
do.
suppose, whether or not you wear spectacles.
They were in contact during the day.
Little gnomish combat. This cavern, you can see it's about 10 foot high to the ceiling. It's about 40 feet from you to the back wall, almost like an igloo, but much bigger, much grander. Worn into the rocks, there's a raised dais, and you can see that this whole dished rear surface of the cavern is coated in gold. The rivulets flowing around you, they come down the dais, roll right past you, brightly flaked with gold. Right in front of you, in the center of the dais, is this geyser, 2 feet tall, spraying. It looks like pure gold. This is pure water, and you can see the flecks of gold that seem to be melting onto the top of the cavern. You have encountered the font of gold.
5 feet away from the thing we were arguing about.
And I was like, I think could be the font of gold. Maybe not. It's pretty steamy.
And as the 3 of you here at the table are watching on, this creature, again, there's a flash of wings, and Gad is taken right off his feet, and the little bundle of joy is taken off over the trees. And it's gone in a second. He's actually standing in front of the 3 of you fellows, and then just, he's gone.
You know, we just left a moment ago, but I can still hear him talking.
Featherfall!
Alright, we should help him.
I mean, he's paying me, so I
Which
feel like I should probably help him.
Can I have perception checks from the party, please?
14?
13.
15.
Goro and Steve, you note that this creature that's got their wizard friend in its clutches descends down into the woods, half a mile away, out somewhere in the Gulfmere Forest, to the north, toward the coast.
I'm going to take the biggest jug I've got in my satchel that was given by Aurora and quickly fill it from the font.
I'll call it like a liter.
Okay, like a liter full.
Gordo, did you
Yeah, sure.
and Gad get what you came for? Did you just come to see it? He saw it.
We did see it.
He got a fantastic view. I gotta stay more in character, I'm sorry.
I'm gonna assume so. I mean, he was pretty vague with me as well. He was talking about getting here, but not necessarily saying what he wanted to do when he came here. You see, Steve over here is taking a little sample of the fountain, so I'm gonna use this little vial he loaned me. Take a little sample myself.
Is there gold coating the walls too?
Yes, mostly the rear of this cavern. There's a shallow pool at the top of this dais with stairs that advance to it, and where the fountain, this natural geyser, has sprayed, it's mostly on the ceiling, on the back wall, which is sort of dome-shaped. But you do see the gold sparkling in these steaming troughs of very, very hot water that's coming through.
Can I try my best to do a sketch of the fountain
Yeah.
and all that?
If you'd like, we could do a roll for it to see how
How good it
smooth
is? I'm thinking dexterity. 15?
You make a great deal of verisimilitude in the sketch that you provided. You get all of the important details, and you're doing your best to sort of show the glimmer of gold in Chiaroscuro. Just got black and white here. You receive a message from Gad.
Okay.
Telepathic.
Yep.
All right, it's a wyvern. I've gotten away. We'll meet you in Starmantle. You're the only one who hears this.
Okay.
This cavern in front of you is just radiating heat. It's incredibly hot in here. Just on the outside of it, where the steam is pouring through and going.
Does
into
any of
your
the
air.
gold on the wall look like it could be like shaved off? Like, does it look like it's gold that
It's
could
not
be?
quite that thick.
Okay.
It's more like, imagine an artisan had come through and laid gold leaf all
Okay.
over it. It fades where the spatter doesn't reach toward the farther parts of the cavern. One maybe 20-foot sphere around this geyser.
Where'd Gad say he was? The star something or other?
Starman.
You know from the map you were provided, that was where you set off from. You took your boat here from there.
I'll send a message back to Gad. We'll be on our way. Just letting you two know, I just got a message from Gad. He telepathically communicated with me that he is okay. Somehow that creature didn't kill him. I'm shocked too. He says he's somewhere by the Star Mantle.
We got dropped off in Starmantle by the ship that brought us here. Day's journey. Once we get out of here.
If you could guide me, I would appreciate it. You two can tag along, rejoin up with Gad if you want, or you can go our separate ways from there.
One step at a time. Let's get to Starmantle. Well, actually, let's get out of here first. How do we get out?
I agree.
As you're standing here looking closer, you can see that behind the geyser there is a tunnel that leads farther. This one you can see is choked in vines. It's significantly more narrow than the passages you've been navigating. It's maybe 4 feet tall.
How safe are we in the fountain room?
I mean, outside of these wing mirrors, I believe Gad
But
called
they
it.
can't get into the fountain room, can they?
The fountain room is enclosed, but it is incredibly hot. You can see in Arumbrax wander out of that passage past the geyser. It just goes right through the scalding hot, burning hot water, and then comes down the dais stairs, and then it scampers by and sort of brushes by your leg as it goes out.
I think forward is our only option.
Then let's keep moving.
Let us
It is-
continue.
It's quite steamy in here. I'd rather not linger.
If you wanted to stay here and investigate more, take samples, that sort of thing, you would potentially incur damage. Just it's incredibly hot. Already you're pouring in sweat.
Well, I
as
mean,
soon
the
as you-
water in here is pretty much the same as the water that was out in the pit, right?
It has cooled significantly out in the pit.
I just meant like in terms of like the content of what's like the gold flakes in the water.
It is more rich in gold here. And you can see coming out of the geyser, it is significantly more gold as it's even still molten and hitting the top of the cavern.
As we run through, can I like scrape like the lip of a vial across like where the gold's still wet?
Sure.
See if I can get like just like a quick like, and then kind of just slide into the
It's
tunnel.
going to burn your hand quite a bit. It's going to be not comfortable because it is molten gold.
That's fine.
This 4-foot wide hall that you're entering into is a very cramped space. You're going to have difficulty getting in here. It descends sharply into the darkness and even beyond the range of your dark vision. As you're at the mouth of it, you just rushed over looking down in. It sort of curves. It's filled with hot steam. As you're standing in the front of it, you're already sweating and your armor is getting hot. This shaft is all covered in vines as well. It's quite hard to see in here.
As we get to the tunnel, I'm gonna transform into my full lion form to fit better into the tunnel.
God,
I go full lion this time, like straight up just a lion.
Whereas before, when we met Gad and Goro, you were part lion.
Features of a lion, but just like arms and feet of a person.
Were lion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and now I'm like a full lion.
As you're standing here addressing this situation at the mouth of this tunnel that continues forward, you're all going to take 1 point of fire damage.
I'll just keep going forward, I guess.
Yeah.
Push through.
I look forward to a cold ale when this is done.
I'm going to have you make a dexterity saving throw because the floor here is slick, wet, runoff, mud, and also leaves and all the other things. As you're pressing through the tunnel behind Baraka, the vines are a constant problem. You have to sort of push through. Baraka, as a lion, is sort of low. He can get through, but he's got these great big padded feet. And he's going forward. This terrain counts as difficult terrain, so you're going to be able to get 15 feet around as you're moving.
18 on the deck save then.
Okay. In your more sturdy form with 4 legs, you can slow your descent enough that you're not slipping and sliding in this mud. You fellows who are following through, I'll have you make dexterity checks now as he clears away the leaves in the upper layer, exposing even more mud that you're going to have to follow him through.
10.
12.
You manage to stay upright and to make your way through. At the end of your turn, you have traveled 15 feet. You're going to take 1 point of fire damage each. The tunnel still continues. It's quite a ways as it curves down enough to keep going farther. You do have the option, if you wish, to dash to try to make it faster, potentially minimize the time that you're inhaling this incredibly hot steam. It would make it easier to slip and end up sliding down or falling.
Can I choose to just slide down the tunnel?
Baraka gets down on his belly and just sort of slides like a slip and slide. You get a good 35 feet before the mud stops and you're just on bare stone and you have to get back up at your feet to continue.
I'll do the same. Slide down on like my butt.
I'm going to try the dash. I want to try to keep some control. I'm decked out in a bunch of metal armor. I'd hate to crash into these guys.
Make a dexterity check to make sure you can make it down okay and not slam into Baraka. And I'll have you also make a dexterity check. You dash.
11.
17.
Somewhat carefully, you slide down on your butt, get all the way down there, and Steve comes running after you. And you take 1 point of fire damage there. There is still more tunnel ahead of Baraka.
I can't stay here forever, or else we're gonna burn to death. 9.
Didn't you say that the Rex came out of this cavern?
They apparently have the claws that get them up here. It's really dark in here, so it's not easy to look for tracks or anything like that. You've also got vines.
I'm going to muse aloud.
It echoes, your voice echoes very well here.
It worries me if an Arumvarax can navigate this without too much difficulty.
I just give just like a because I cannot talk.
You're okay with the save. You managed to make your way through. There's enough leaf litter that you can be a little bit sloppy with your footwork, but you're clearing the leaf litter away, which gives them a little bit less to work with.
7.
8. You make it, you do not. 3. Falling damage. You fall into your butt, you hit your wrist real hard into this solid rock. But you're going to keep going. You continue on. You follow Goro down, and Baraka is somewhere up ahead. He's got a little bit of a lead on him. Baraka, give me a perception check.
10. I want to smell, see like if I'm getting any, like what kind of sense I'm
Yes,
getting
absolutely.
down
You
here.
have advantage on that check.
Yes. Natural 20.
It's not the earth that you're familiar with, like petrichor. It smells soil after rain, but it's stone. If stone could be liquid, that's sort of what you're smelling. It's this intense heat, you're getting the steam, but behind it, there are notes of metamorphic activity, like a natural spring is nearby there. You also pick up hints of metal, like a little tang of it, like if you were smelling coins that somebody had handled. It's got sort of like an oil to it, but you smell that metallic smell. And that you think is getting more powerful the farther you go down.
I don't even know if I would know if that's like a good sign, a dangerous sign. Oh, fuck, we made it this far, I'm gonna keep going.
Goro, you're continuing down here trying not to slip as you hear behind you that Steve has taken a little bit of a fall. You can catch glimpses of Baraka's tail as he's just moving along, still going.
9.
Nat 20.
You managed not to fall this time, but it's really close. You're
Shaky.
slipping and sliding. Your boots are now just caked in this mud. You've got all these vines all over the place, sticking in your armor, sort of getting under the plates and slowing you down. You're managing to keep up pretty well with Goro, but he's getting lead on you. Baraka, you can see a light as you're nearing what appears to be perhaps the bottom of this. It seems almost like it's corkscrewing, maybe not in a single direction, but it's going steeply down. Up ahead there is a reddish glow down there.
Scuttle my way over there. A 4.
That's not going to make it. So you're going to take 2 bludgeoning damage. You don't quite make it to the bottom. You can feel the change in air and temperature. It seems like it's a little bit cooler down here. You hear Baraka up ahead give a little grunt, like a whine, and then another whine as he hits the wall.
I don't know what to make of that, but I want to make sure that he's okay, so I'm going to keep continuing down.
Yeah, keep continuing down.
So
With him
cautious,
ahead.
very fast.
Yeah, very
Very
fast.
fast. 19.
I mean, it's nice
18.
and tense.
Baraka has cleared away all of the wet vines and decayed plant matter that had been in the way. Goro, you manage to make your way down. You see his rear end, and you also catch this red glow coming from deep within. You can also begin to hear there's a sort of rumble down here.
Have I taken any more steam damage?
Yeah, I was about to say you guys should have taken 1 fire damage the last turn. I think I forgot twice or so.
Should I knock 2 off? Because I think
Just
you
take-
did too. Yeah.
If the DM forgets, don't bring it up. Your sinuses are so
You
clear.
know. I do just want to point out, this tunnel has now hurt me more than anything else.
I think we're going to end the session there for tonight. I think it's a good spot to stop.
But is the fan on it going to be like...
Probably. Like,
Okay.
it's not super big.
We'll fix it in post.
Yes. And noise reduction can only do so much, but
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's a gentle breeze rolling through this fine encounter. You may hear it in the background. Let the natural sounds serenade